I trust no one, and no one trusts me. I don't trust you as far as I can throw you. Wow, these are some powerful statements. Guys, it's Coach D, and I am back with the 23% challenge. So today, you're probably wondering, what's the topic? Well, based on those powerful statements that I said earlier, today we are discussing trust. Yes, and believe it or not, trust is involved with the 23% challenge because after all, we are here to learn, we are here to grow, we are here to live a healthier lifestyle. We are here to become a better and greater version of who we currently are. So, let's go ahead and discuss the word, or shall we say the concept of trust. I have a story to tell. A few years ago, in one of my courses, Total Wellness, we were having a great class discussion. And during the discussion, one of my female students, who probably at that time was no older than I would say 22, 23 years of age. And while she was talking to the class and myself, she boldly said, with a scowl on her face and her arms were folded, she says to the entire class, "I have no friends." Now, I had to take a second to pause, to breathe, and to ask myself, wow, here is a young woman who just boldly stated that she has no friends. Now, personally, I cannot relate to a statement like that. I have excellent friends. Friends that I will do anything for, and hopefully they'll do anything for me. So, in listening to what she said, again, I had to pause and I had to ask her, I said, well, if you don't mind me asking, why do you not have any friends? And she says, I don't have any friends because I don't trust anyone. Now, again, a very powerful statement. So rather than dive into her and really find out what was going on, I simply, let that comment slide. But it really did weigh heavy on my conscience for the rest of the lecture. Now, after class was over, I went back into my office and I immediately jumped on the computer to actually look up what is the definition of trust. Because in some way, shape, or form, I felt very sad about my female student. I wanted to be able to help her. And so, in my way of helping her, I could at least understand how to not only understand her actions and her verbiage, but also understand her perspective of where she's coming from in order to say such a thing like, I have no friends and I don't trust anyone. So, after going back to my office, I looked up the word trust and I found out some very, very interesting things. And so that's what I want to share with you today. Let's look at the word trust. Let's look at its meaning. Well, it is the confident expectations of others or something. Now, of others, we're going to define others as people, and something, well, we're going to define something as, let's say a car, right? I mean, when you get in your car in the morning and you put the key in the ignition, you trust that it'll start. Well, when you eat vegetables, you trust that those vegetables will keep your body healthy. When you step in your shower in the morning, you trust that when you turn the knob, the water will come on. So when it comes to trusting others, that's where we have problems. That's where we run into obstacles. So today, I really want to talk about how we can begin to start trusting ourselves. So now here's the question. Should I trust myself? Well, let's take a look at it. Have you ever expected anything from anyone? Have you ever placed demands on anyone? How do you feel when others don't live up to your expectations? Have you ever asked anyone to do anything for you, but you didn't like the way in which it was done? How often do you listen to your own intuition? You see, when it comes to trusting yourself, oftentimes we don't do that. Instead, we place trust in others, meaning we want people to do something for us. We expect people to do things the way in which we want it to be done. And then what happens when people don't live up to our expectations? We lose their trust. They become unreliable. We cannot depend on them. And so that then fosters feelings of anger and resentment and hate. And so we now have an attitude to the point where we can no longer trust anyone. So here's my quick solution. Rather than expect so much from other people, why don't we look in the mirror and start expecting more from ourselves? Yeah, that sounds a lot better. Moving on. So let's talk about the benefits of trusting ourselves. Number one, you will have fewer feelings of disappointment and anger. And wouldn't that be a great thing? You will begin to listen to your inner voice. Now, in a few videos ago, I talked about my incident at the gym where my gym bag was actually stolen. And prior to it being stolen, I remember hearing that little voice in my head. Yes, it was my intuition telling me, all right, Coach D, take your bag with you. But I didn't listen and I got a surprise. So you see, if you listen to your intuition, if you listen to that voice, it will almost never steer you wrong. You will be able to let go of comparisons and labels. Funny thing is, whenever we compare ourselves to other people, usually we sell ourselves short. I'm not as talented as someone. I'm not as beautiful as someone else. I can't speak like that other person. I can't do that. So whenever we compare ourselves, we almost always sell ourselves short. We never really look at our skills, our abilities, and give ourselves a 10 out of 10. Also, you will learn to accept your own uniqueness and individuality. How many of us on a daily basis praise ourselves for being unique, for being special, for being an individual? You will break through any fear of going beyond your comfort zone. One of the things that keeps us stuck where we are in life, whether it's in our finances, in our relationships, or even in our occupation, is because we become so comfortable with being in our comfort zone. You know, the moment we dare to step outside of our comfort zone, or we have someone telling us to do something different, we may give it a little bit of thought, but probably 9 times out of 10, we end up falling back into our comfort zone. We continue doing the same things day in and day out. Why? Because we don't trust ourselves. We don't trust the fact that we can step out on faith. And if it doesn't work out, so what? But at least you try. You will have the courage to try new things. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I want to let you know that the 23% challenge, me being Coach D, this takes a lot of courage. And the reason why I have that courage now, which I didn't have before, is because I'm learning to trust myself. I'm trusting my abilities. I'm trusting my ability to put together a PowerPoint presentation. I'm trusting my ability to speak. I'm trusting my ability to articulate my emotions and my thoughts. So, ladies and gentlemen, today I want to encourage and motivate you to start doing the same thing. Start listening to your intuition. Start trusting yourself and knowing that you are special and that you deserve everything that you can ever dream of. And last but not least, one of the major benefits of trusting yourself is that you will begin to focus on the solutions and not the problems. Now, I've said this before and I'll say it again. One of my spiritual counselors, Iyanla Van Zandt, she says that the solution is in the same room as the problem, right? So if you have a problem, then guess where the solution is? The solution is within. So now the question is, do you trust that inside solution? I think you should trust it, and I think that you should act on it. You see, it's one thing to want something, and it's another thing to listen to other people tell you that you need something, but it's a completely different story for you to actually begin to execute and to begin to act and to stop focusing on your problems and to start focusing on the solutions. What is our take-home message of today? Well, I'm a huge fan of Arnold Schwarzenegger. He is one of my personal heroes, right? So Arnold Schwarzenegger says, trust yourself, no matter what anyone else thinks. And ladies and gentlemen, I happen to agree with him. So please, let's start trusting our inner voice. Let's start trusting our instincts. Let's start trusting our intuition. Let's begin to expect more of ourselves and less on others, especially when you can do it yourself. And of course, our other take-home message is eat well, feel well, think well, do well, and now the big one is be well. Question of the day. And so feel free to answer this question in the comments box, or of course you can always send me an email. I love reading your emails. So the question of today is, do you trust yourself? Now, whether the answer is no or if it is yes, please let me know. I'm very interested in hearing how you guys feel about the concept of trust. So that's all that I have for you today. I want to say goodbye. This is Coach D signing off with the 23% challenge.